Hello, today your boy is going to be teaching you how to do Addmaths. So what we have right here is a Terengganu's trial paper. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to be doing Kertas 1 first. So Kertas 1 is something people usually think is very easy, but in my opinion, I think Kertas 1 is much more harder than Kertas 2. Because Kertas 2 has a lot more points to get, while Kertas 1 is really a big gamble in my opinion lah. So getting right into it, the first question they are asking, solve the simultaneous equation. Okay, simultaneous equation, and they are giving you 5 marks. When they give you something like this, you hit the jackpot basically. So the only thing you have to remember to get 5 marks is that you have to write the answers perfectly. That is the thing about Addmaths. If you don't write the answers perfectly, they will cut your marker immediately, and that is kind of shit. So the first part is usually a very easy part. Like, okay, so let's get right into it. They say here 2x minus 3y equals to 5. So the first step here is basically you just have to find one of them. And when you find one of them, you can substitute it into the other equation and you can find the values lah. Okay, so let's get into it. So 2x minus 3y equals 5. So what we do is we pick one. Okay, let's say x or y. Okay, I pick x. So we need to make x alone. So we take the 3y and we go over there. It will become 5 plus 3y. And then we can get x, which will become 5 plus 3y over 2. The reason is because the 2 will go down here, in case you don't know lah. So now what we can do is we can start to substitute. So in the next equation, and if you guys want to be more neatly and arranged, you can write some things like this, like the first equation, second equation, blah blah blah, so that you know what you're doing, and in case your whole paper gets messy. Okay, so let's substitute it into the next equation now. So 2, and we see here there is x kuasa 2. Okay, so 5 plus 3y over 2 and kuasa 2 plus y kuasa 2 equals 8. Okay, as we can see here now, there is only y in this equation, meaning we can find y's value because there is no 2 ungkapan right now. There's only one. There's only y. So we can find the value. Right now, they say kuasa 2. So obviously, before timesing this 2 and this whatever's inside, we need to do the kuasa 2 part first. Okay, let's do the kuasa 2 part. Right now, they are saying here 5 plus 3y. Let me give you a quick tip on how to quickly do kuasa 2 types of equations. Okay, right now, let's say an equation states something like x plus 1. Okay, when it says kuasa 2, what you're going to do is very simple. Right now, the first part of it, let's say x lah, okay, we just want to letak a kuasa 2 on top. So, it will be x kuasa 2. Okay, now how about the second part? Now, let's look here. There's a 1 here. What we're going to do now is we're going to times this 1 with whatever is here. So there's 1 here and there's x here. So we times 1 with x. And now 1 times with x, and then we times it with this 2. Follow me really quick. So follow me properly here again. Okay. The first part is that whatever's in front here, we just times it, or we times it with self lah. Or just letak a kuasa 2 on top. So x kuasa 2. So for the second part, whatever is here, we want to times it with this fella, and then we times it with 2. Okay, so 1 times x, x times 2 is 2x, so plus 2x. And why I say plus 2x, because you need to remember whatever is here. Okay, so how about the last part? For the last part, whatever is in this end of the bracket, you want to just kuasa 2 pretty much. So 1 kuasa 2 is 1. Okay, let me give you a different, more harder example real quick. So let's say we have 2x minus 3 and they say kuasa 2. Okay, as I said, the first part you just kuasa 2. So 2x kuasa 2, first of all, x will be memang kuasa 2 lah. We just write lah x kuasa 2. But then 2 kuasa 2 is 4 kuasa 2. So 2 kuasa 2 is 4. So we terus write 4x kuasa 2. How about the second part? The second part will obviously be this 3 times with this 2x, which will become 6x, and then we times it with this 2. So it will become 12x. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2, 12x. And for the last part, oh yeah, and I forgot. Oh, before that I forgot. You really need to keep in mind whether here is it a minus or plus, because the second one is influenced by it. So let's say there is a negative here. That means here is also going to be negative. Now let's say for the last part. The last part you just have to kuasa 2 it. So negative 3 kuasa 2 is going to be positive 9. So it's that simple. Now we go back to this part. So this video is going to be a bit long because I'm going to teach you step by step on how to do questions like this. Okay, so now let's look at here. So now let's look here. 5 plus 3y kuasa 2. Okay, personally I do not like how this is written because this is messing up with my brain. So what I do is I write it again in the way I like it. 3y plus 5 and then divide by 2 plus y kuasa 2 equals 8. Okay. Now, as we can see, we can now do the method that I showed you. So, the first one, 3y kuasa 2. So, 3y times kuasa 2. So, here will be y kuasa 2. 3 kuasa 2 is 9. 5 and then the next part will be 5 times 3. 5 times 3y times 2. So, 5 times 3 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. And here is a positive, so 30y. And then, the last part will just be kuasa 2. So 5 kuasa 2 will be 25. And then obviously the bawah also you have to kuasa 2. So 2 kuasa 2 is 4. And then now we can plus y kuasa 2 equals 8. And as we can see here, we can cut this 2 into 1 and here into 2. It's that simple. So now we can rewrite this equation like this. 9y kuasa 2 plus 30y plus 25 divide by 2 plus y kuasa 2. Okay. Once again, I'm in a situation where I do not like what I see. I see this fella being a nuisance that has a divide 2 thingy there. I don't want that. I want to take this 2 and go over here. What am I going to do for that? So what I do is basically, I times this 2 with this y over here. When I do that, this equation can look like this. So when it looks like this, now I can take this 2 and go over here, which makes things a lot simpler. So now there is no space. So when I take this 2 and go over here, 8 times 2 is 16. So we can now write it like this. 9y kuasa 2. So we can write 9y kuasa 2 30. I'm gonna write it a bit small because we don't have space. 30y plus 25 plus 2y kuasa 2 equals to 16. Now we can zoom in a bit. Okay, now it's very easily solved. All we can do is this 9y kuasa 2 and this 2y kuasa 2 plus together we get 11y kuasa 2 plus with 30y plus with 25. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this 16 over here, which will mean minus 16 equals 0. And now we can form a quadratic equation, which means you can tekan the calculator and get the answer. So 11y kuasa 2 plus 30y. 25 minus 16 is, I don't have my calculator. So, well, 25 minus 16 is 9 plus 9 equals 0. And when we put that into calculator, just a quick tutorial in case you don't know, with this calculator, also people who use this calculator are just lazy. Anyways, with this calculator, what you're gonna do is we're gonna press mode 3 times and then we're gonna press 1, which stands for equation. And now we are going to press this arrow and then we're gonna press 2. Okay, so now what you do is for A we put the one with the kuasa 2, so we have 11, and for B we put the one with just the one ungkapan, which is 30, and then for C we have 9. And now we get two answers that are a bit weird. Okay, so for for the first y, they're saying negative 0.341184349. Go back to the equation over here and we can see that it says 3 significant figures, meaning if we write this down entirely, 34118 blah 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 blah. But right now we want 3 significant figures. So as we remember in form 3 significant figures, so 1, 2, 3, and we draw one line. Can this be plus by 1? It cannot, because this number is less than 5, and the answer will be negative 0.341. 1. And then for the next one, we have y equals, there is another long answer saying 2.384088378. Again, let's write this down. 3840888 blah blah blah. Okay, we want 3 significant figures. 1, 2, 3. Can this be plus by 1? No, because this number here is less than 5. So we can cancel this out, and now we can write it as 2.38. So that is for y. And as for x, we can now finally go back to this equation. X equals 5 plus 3y over 2. Now, let's zoom in over here. X equals to 5 plus 3y over 2. So we can substitute 1 by 1. So 5 plus 3 times negative 0.341 over 2. 3. So we put that in the calculator. You will be getting 1.9885. And just a reminder, this is absolutely wrong. Why? Because they asked in 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3. And can this be plus by 1? Yes, because this number over here is more than 5. So the answer will be 1.99. And do not bundarkan this, because Addmaths incredibly precise, and if you even do the slightest mistake, they'll take away your marks. So for the next one, x equals 5 plus 3y over 2. 5 plus 3 negative, oh, this is getting out of hand. 5 plus 3, what's this one here? Negative 2.38. Negative 2.38 divided by 2, you get negative 1.07. So that's for the first question, and I've been teaching for 20 minutes. Jesus Christ. As I said, this video is going to be very long. Okay, for the next question, they're saying shows the straight line graph obtained when y equals 2x over x cubed minus 8 is converted into a linear form. Basically, this equation will make a different type of graph, something that looks either like this or like this or something like that. But when it changes into linear form, it becomes into this graph. And take note of everything you see. We can see here that the y-intercept is negative 4. Okay, so that's the only information that I can see here. And they are telling you to express x and y in terms of x and or y. This is cool. So what do you know about a straight line equation? This does not stand for the y over here. It can be either this x over here taken down here, or this x over here being taken up. The tip that we got here is that the c must be negative 4. So we must somehow try and make this be negative 4. Okay, let's look here that only 8 has no, let's call them girlfriend or boyfriend lah. Say there is no x or there is no y. Here is to somehow make this 8 into negative 4, or the negative 8 become negative 4. When we get an equation where we can make that 8 into negative 4, that is the correct equation. So let's see here. So what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna take this whole equation, go up here, x kuasa 3 minus 8 sama dengan 2x over y. Now what I can do is I can take this 2 and go down here. So it will look like x over y sama dengan x kuasa 3 over 2 minus 8 over 2. And just like magic, we see that this 8 or this negative 8 has now become negative 4, meaning this is how you write your equation, and this will somehow turn into this. So as for the final answer, this will be 1 mark, and for the next part or for the next mark, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to symbolize. So this y stands for this x over y, and this x stands for x kuasa 3. Why do I say that? Obviously it's saying x kuasa 3 over 2, right? It should be x kuasa 3 over 2. If you forgot, in a straight line equation, this x cos theta over 2 is not really x cos theta over 2. It's something like 1 over 2 x cos theta. These both are the same. And as you can see here, this 1 over 2 is the gradient. It is not the value of x. So this x is actually just this x cos theta. So we write it as y equals to x over y and x equals to, or this big X equals to x cos theta. Yes. Okay. Functions is a bar easy to score because there isn't such a thing as a hard question when it comes to functions. So the only key is that you have to see every information and write down every information that you see. So we see here fx equals to 7x minus 9. And the second thing they show here is this f thing. When I first started Form 4, I didn't understand this whole circle and arrow thingy. But now I get it and I will teach you as well. So as we can see here, there's an f here, right? And there's an x here, and it's leading to this 7x minus 9. As we know, fx is equals to 7x minus 9, meaning the graph or this diagram is basically going like this. Fx is equivalent to 7x minus 9, meaning fx or f2 is equivalent to m. How do we even put this together? So keep in mind, f2 is equivalent to m, but we know fx is equivalent to 7x minus 9. We can actually now find f2 by its own because we know fx already. So if fx equals to 7x minus 9, that means f2, where we replace the x with 2, is 7. This x, we turn it into 2 minus 9, which is 7 times 2 is 14. 14 minus 9 is 5, meaning f2 and m is the same, meaning 5 and m is the same. So there is your 1 mark. Next up, they said fx equals x plus 4 and gf equals x minus 4 over x plus 1. Find the function g. So what they have done is they try to confuse you using composite functions. It's not that hard. Keep in mind this one thing only. If what you want to remove, or in this situation we want to remove this f, but if you want to find what's on the inside, let's say they gave here they gave a function called gx lah. Instead of fx, they gave gx, and now they are asking you to find f, or the function of f. What you're going to do is we are going to replace it. What do I mean by that? Okay, let's do the actual question first, and then we do a situation where it's the other way around. So first of all, as I said, we want to remove what's on the inside so that we can find what's on the outside. So we want to find gx. Okay, when it's on the inside, what we do is we get what we want to remove is on the inside. We find the inverse function. So how do we find the inverse function? We know that fx equals x plus 4. If you want to find the inverse function, what you're going to do is we're just going to write it like this: y equals x plus 4. Now what you're going to do is we are going to find x. So how do we find x? We just make x alone. So we take this 4 and go over here. X equals to y minus 4. And basically, this is it. That is your inverse function. And the last step is basically you turn the y into x. So it's x minus 4. That's it. That's how you do a inverse function. So now all you really have to do is substitute it inside your composite function over here. Okay, to make you understand a bit of logic, right now if this fx times it with the inverse of itself, it will become 1, or basically nothing. It will cancel out itself. So that is why we have to substitute it inside the composite function. So it will look something like g f negative 1 or inverse x. And what we're going to do is we are going to replace this x minus 4 into all the x that we can see here. So we know that x minus 4, so we write here x minus 4 divided by x minus 4 plus 1. So x minus 4 is going to be x minus 8, and then x minus 4 plus 1, negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So x minus 3, and that's it. That is your gx. Remember, this will cancel out each other and we can find gx like that. Okay, now how about a situation where they are asking the opposite? Let's say this is gx and then they are asking you to find f. How do we do this? Okay, right now we know that gx equals to x plus 4 and we want to find only f. So what we do now is basically we write it like this. So gfx would basically mean we are putting fx or whatever that is fx into this x here. So just follow me step by step. So gx is x plus 4, and if we put fx into gx, this x will become fx. Okay, quick reminder, if let's say there's an fx here equals, let's say x plus 2 lah, and then gx equals x plus 1. We want to find, if we want to find gfx, it will look like this entire thing will be put into this x, meaning it will look like x plus 2 plus 1. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is why I am doing this. So x plus 4, we just turn the x into fx plus 4. And we know gfx is this value, meaning fx plus 4 is the same as x minus 4 over x plus 1. So basically what we can do now is we can find fx immediately. We just take this 4, go over here. So it is x minus 4 minus 4 x plus 1. And then we can go on and do the whole time thing and get the final answer, blah 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 blah. So that's how you find it. Okay, so the next question is about vector. Okay, Addmaths is all about doing it slowly. You understand and do it slowly so that you don't make a mistake. So look at everything and get everything in your head first. So we know that there's a vector called u and there's a vector called v, and these are the values inside. Okay, find the possible value of n if u and v are parallel. Okay, what does parallel mean? Let's go back to straight line equations. Parallel means they have the same gradient, right? Meaning the lines look like this. Well, in vector, it's the exact same thing. They kind of have the same gradient. But when it comes to vector, we write it down like this. They are parallel. U and V are parallel. We write it like this. This U is parallel because it has a constant. So this U is parallel, meaning it has a constant, or what we say, a lambda in between it. This lambda is what makes them different but also unites them as well. So using this formula, what we can do is we can now write this down. Okay, let's say 7, 9, lambda n minus 1, 3. So, but we want n right now. So, what we do is, we write this down. Lambda n minus 1 equals 7. We just take it apart one by one. Okay. So, lambda times n minus 1 equals to 7. Right now, there's two ungkapan. There's lambda and there is n. Both unknown numbers. So, what we do is, we look at the second part. So, we have 9 equals to lambda 3. And obviously, there's only one unknown, meaning we can find it already. So, lambda is basically 9 over 3. 9 over 3 is 3, meaning lambda is 3. And we can take this 3 and substitute it in this equation. So, 7 equals to 3, which is basically lambda, times n minus 1. So, 7 equals 3 times n minus 1. Now, what we can do is, we can just take this 3, go over here. N minus 1 is 7 over 3. And we can take that 1, go over there. So, 1 plus 7 over 3 will be 10 over 3. And this is the value of n. But that is just for the first part. You get 2 marks for that. Okay, how about the second part? Then they have given you these weird looking lines and say, this line u equals to this line v. What does that mean? So the line stands for magnitude. Tak silap saya lah. Magnitude. And the basic formula for magnitude is punca kuasa x kuasa 2 plus y kuasa 2. So that is the basic formula. So what they are saying is, if we put the coordinates or the vector of this u into the magnitude formula, and it will be equivalent to v's vector magnitude. Okay, so how do we write this down? So we know the formula is punca kuasa x kuasa 2 plus y kuasa 2. So we just substitute it back. So we have, actually, in a vector, the top part will be x and the bottom part will be y. So for your x, it will be 7 kuasa 2 plus your y 9 kuasa 2. It will be the same as your n minus 1 kuasa 2 plus 3 kuasa 2. Now after this, it's very simple. This punca kuasa, we can just cancel out both of them. And 7 kuasa 2 plus 9 kuasa 2 will be 130. Okay, and as I've taught you before, we can solve this part very easily for the kuasa 2, which will look like n kuasa 2, these both times together, and times with 2, negative 2n, and then negative 1 kuasa 2, it is plus 1, and then 3 kuasa 2 is 9, meaning it is n kuasa 2. So now it will look like n kuasa 2 minus 2n plus with 10 equals 130. Let me just draw a line over here. So now obviously we can find n by taking this and going to the other side. N kuasa 2 minus 2n. So 10 minus 130 will be negative 120 equals 0. And we can put this all in the calculator as I've taught you before. So n will be 12 and n will be negative 10. That's how you do the question. Okay, there's a P as well. Oh my god. For the next question, they've given you this vector and they've given you this vector, and they've tell that m is a constant. Find the value of m if P is perpendicular to Q. Okay, so what does perpendicular mean? perpendicular means if a line is going like this, okay, the other line is going like this, and they have a 90-degree difference, meaning they are absolutely going perfectly in a cross type of shape, and they have 90 degrees in between. So how about this? How do we find a gradient? Okay, for a gradient, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take y-intercept and we're gonna divide it with your x-intercept. Am I right? As for vector, it's in a more simpler way. Basically, this is x and this is y. What we're gonna do is just put y over x, and that is your gradient. It's hard to understand, but just follow as I go. So we know that this is y and this is x. So in vector, if you want to find the gradient, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this, basically 1 over m minus 1, and we just mark it down as m for p. Okay, we just write it down like that so that we know what we are doing. Next part is that this guy's the q's gradient will be 8 over 9. So m for q will be 8 over 9. And when you start to go into Form 4 deeper and deeper, when you learn geometric coordinates and all, you will learn that if two lines are perpendicular, when both of their gradients are times together, you will get -1. If both of these guys times together, then you will get -1. So 1 over m minus 1 times with 8 over 9, it will become -1. And with this, we can finally find what is m. Okay, how do we do that? I'm just going to do it as simple as I can. So I'm going to take this and go up here, and take this and go down here. So 1 over m minus 1 equals to -9 over 8. And after that, I'm going to just take this and go up here. So m minus 1 over 8 is the same as 1 over -9. We just take this 8 and go up as well. M minus 1 equals to -8 over 9. And for the next or the last step, we just take this 1 and we go over there, so it will become 1 minus 8 over 9. Okay, so on to the next question. We are going into circular measures. Okay, so for this, the information that we see is that AB and BC, AC is all the same. So the radius and this part, which I forgot the name for, all of them have the same value. So what do we do? Okay, right now the question is asking you to find the perimeter. What does perimeter mean? Perimeter basically means all the lines that you see, you just have to plus them together. So they said perimeter of the shaded region. This is one of your lines, and this is also the second line. Okay, so now we already know that this here is P and this here is P, but we don't know this part. How do we find it? Okay, now listen carefully. A triangle works like this. If all of these angles if all of these lines have the same length, then the angles are divided equally. So right now in this triangle, if all of them are the same length, a triangle has a total internal angle of 180 degrees. So if all the lines are going to be the same length, meaning they are all going to be separated equally. So 180, how many buchu are there? 3, meaning 180 divided by 3. meaning every single part here has an angle of 60 degrees. So obviously here will also be 60 degrees, and using this we can find this. So how do we do that? Okay, we know that the lengkung or the curve basically has a formula where r is radius, theta is your radian or radian, and your s is going to be the curve. So we need to turn this guy into your radian. How do we do that? So 60 degrees times with pi over 180. That is basically the basic formula that you learn lah, to turn from degree into radian. So 60 degrees times pi over 180, you will get 1 over 3 pi. So you get 1 over 3 pi, and that is your radian. Now to find the curve, you basically times your radius. Basically now we can substitute it back. So for your radius it will be p, and for your radian it will be 1 over 3 pi, meaning your curve's value will be p over 3 pi. Now we can go to the perimeter terus. So your perimeter will basically your perimeter is basically this guy. So your perimeter will be this guy and this guy. So we know that BC. So we know that BC is P, and the curve will be P over 3 pi. That is your final answer. You get 3 marks. Okay. So this question will be the last part of this video, and we're going to be doing logarithms. Okay, logarithms, basically one of the easiest things, but a bab that people usually miss out on. Okay, they're saying here, solve the following exponential by giving the answer in the form of a plus log 3b. Okay, in hindsight this looks incredibly tough because we are given here this thing and this thing and this thing, and how the hell are we going to turn it into whatever this is? Okay, see clearly now. Okay, we want to turn these guys into logarithm. How do we do? The first step is we look over here. They have given here the log will be log 3, so that is the log we're going to write it as. So all we do here is really we just write down log 3, and then we do it for both of these sides. So log 3 1 over 3 p, and then log 3 1 over 6. Okay, now I don't like what I see. I want to make it as simple as possible. So what I do, I make this guy into 3 as well. How? 1 over 3 is the same 3 quasar negative 1. So if the negative 1 is there, meaning p will be times with that negative 1, meaning it will be negative p. And here I will write log 3 6 quasar negative 1. And if you have seen my TikToks, which I highly recommend you to check it out, the top part or the quasar, when it comes to logarithm, can be taken over to this side. So it will look like negative p log 3 3, and basically this has now become from my quasar to a times, and we can do the same on the other side, log 3 6. So when it comes to logarithm, if you see a base and the number in front is the same, like log 3 3, we can now turn it into 1, basically 1. Like how when you type in your calculator log 10, it shows 1 because the natural setting of the calculator, when you type logarithm, it will be in base 10. So when you type 10 again, the base and the number in front will be the same, meaning it is equivalent to 1. So log 3 is 1, and negative p times 1 is just negative p. And now here we have negative log 6. And as we can see here, the question wants it to be in this form. So all we really need to do is just take this guy and go over here, p minus log 6. So you might think that this is over. No, we can still make it simpler. Okay, you see this log 6, right? As I've said in a previous video in my TikTok, when the thing is together, when a logarithm is together, we want to separate it, and when it's separated, we want to put it together. Right now we see log 6. Let's think of it like this. Just now we noticed that log 3 will be 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3, meaning if we separate it, it will look like log 3 plus with log 2 equals 0. Do you see what I mean? Basically, when log 3 plus with log 2, in the logarithm world, in the outside world it look like plus, but when it comes to logarithm world, the 3 and 2 will get times together. So basically what I'm saying is, this log 3 plus log 2 is the same as log 6. So now log 3 can obviously be turned into 1. So p minus 1, and now log 2 will obviously just be negative log 2. So right now they ask here to give it in this form, and as we can see here, it's in a plus form. So we can see that there is a 0 here, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna make p alone, and by doing that we can achieve what the question is actually asking us to do, which is a bit tricky if you see it from the start, but if you really look at it, this is the only way it can really make sense. So p equals to, if you take this 1 go over there, it becomes positive 1, and then this side go over there, it will become positive log 2, and that's it. That's your final answer. A is 1 and log 2 is B.